The Toronto Blue Jays have made their first big move of the offseason, signing right-handed starting pitcher Kevin Gausman to a 5-year, $110 million deal. In this video, I'm going to talk about the Kevin Gausman signing, what it means for the Blue Jays, what it means for the Mets, because they're a team that yesterday all we heard about was Kevin Gausman, Kevin Gausman, Kevin Gausman. Mets are going to try it again. They're bidding with Seattle. It's down to the Mets in Seattle, or maybe Toronto's in there, maybe the Giants are in there. And after thinking that it was mostly between the Mets and Mariners, he ends up going to the Blue Jays. If you enjoyed this video, going over a signing that is not particularly a Mets signing, but kind of relates to the Mets and just other MLB teams, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below, what do you think about the Kevin Gausman signing? We had heard that maybe he's getting 6 or potentially even 7 years. We ended up only getting 5 from the Toronto Blue Jays. And if you're new here, you want to keep the channel growing, you want to help me get to 2,000 subscribers, you could subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. So let's talk about this deal. Now, when it comes to Kevin Gausman, one of the big critiques that people had when evaluating him is this guy had a great first half of the season, was an all-star, ERA looked really good, and then once the spider tag ban came in, all of a sudden his ERA was not as good. Now, the analytics / metric people, numbers people, whatever you want to call them, they will tell you that Gausman's spin rates did not have a drastic change, so it doesn't look like he was a particular spider tag pitcher, but it is interesting that there is a correlation between when that ban happened and the way Gausman performed. Now, what I will say is that the rest of the year was just kind of up and down for him. Even look at the postseason where he had 2 starts in the postseason, one where he gave up 4 runs and one where he gave up no runs. So, I mean, that was just kind of the give or take with Gausman. You weren't quite sure what you were going to get. And now that if you're making a long-term commitment to a guy for 5 years after finally having one big year that even this year was up and down, it definitely was a bit of a risk. And I'm very puzzled as to why Toronto chose Kevin Gausman over their own guy in Robbie Ray, who just won the Cy Young for them. Now, maybe because Robbie Ray won the Cy Young, he now has a ridiculous asking price, and the Toronto Blue Jays gave him the qualifying offer, so he also has a draft pick attached to him. And maybe Robbie Ray is just waiting out the market, because we know that Kevin Gausman was going to sign by a deadline. We're hearing that Max Scherzer will probably sign by a deadline, so maybe Toronto just wanted to get this worry or need out of the way before the deadline. And I do wonder where Toronto goes from here, because obviously they already gave Jose Barrios a big extension. They have up-and-coming Alek Manoah, had a good year this year. Already have Hyun-Jin Ryu. And after losing Marcus Semien to the Texas Rangers as they signed him today to a 7-year deal, I wonder where the Blue Jays go next. Do they continue to add to starting pitching? Do they try to get a Marcus Semien replacement? Do they even try to get one of the big infielders, or will they go a little smaller? And Toronto was just a very exciting team in the second half. They were so close to making the wild card, so I can't see what they could do. And hopefully Kevin Gausman turns out to actually be the real deal, because it took a while before this guy to actually get going. Now, as far as the Mets, obviously the main focus is signing Max Scherzer. It's all everybody's talking about, and rightfully so. I had said from the beginning, I don't think Max Scherzer is likely. We've always heard that whenever the Mets are interested in trading for him, he doesn't want to come to New York. He's not interested in New York. So I don't know why he would all of a sudden be interested in New York. We saw last offseason, the first year of Steve Cohen's ownership, a lot of agents like to use the Mets as a leverage tool. And the fact that there are reports coming out saying that the Mets are offering Max Scherzer $40 million, maybe even more, that could just be used as a huge leverage piece by Scott Boras. So we know that the Mets are very, very interested in Scherzer, but we have no idea if that interest is mutual. We heard the Mets might top any offer that Kevin Gausman got. Obviously, they did not. Oh, we didn't get a chance to match the offer kind of spiel again? Or was this truly like, you know what, we're focused on Scherzer, we gave an offer to Gausman, but Max is the guy? And if that is the case, that means that the Mets have to put even more into Max Scherzer. Whatever their offer is, I think they should crease it a few more million, because it is now Scherzer or bust, it seems like, especially with what happened with Marcus Stroman the other night. If you missed it, if you're not on social media, Marcus Stroman was tweeting that it looks like the Mets are not interested in me, they're more interested in other pitchers, and he kind of went on this whole thing, kind of alluding to the Mets potentially being racist or something like that. I personally blocked Marcus Stroman because he likes to block everybody, so I figured I'd block him, because I just can't deal with the constant tweeting and complaining and this and that. I just couldn't take it anymore, so I ended up blocking Marcus Stroman. So I didn't get to see everything, I only saw bits and pieces. But the main focus has got to be getting a starting pitcher, and if Max Scherzer truly is not interested in the Mets, no matter how much money they offer him, I do think you have to try to see if you can kind of, reconnect with Marcus Stroman and get him back on this team, because Robbie Ray has a pick attached to him. I don't want to lose the 14th draft pick for Robbie Ray, especially if he has a ridiculous asking price, knowing that he's pretty much the only guy left for the Mets if they can't get Stroman. It would just put the Mets in a really tough spot if they want to get a top starting pitcher. And as I said with Robbie Ray in the past, there's a guy that wins a Cy Young after being a pretty average pitcher for the most part prior to this season. You could look at a Luis Castillo trade, but again, we know the Mets farm system is not their strength. Even if you put a Jeff McNeil in there, a J.D. Davis, is that going to get it done? Throw in Mark Vientos. I mean, how much is Cincinnati looking for? We keep seeing that Cincinnati's asking price is still sky high. It would just be amazing if somehow the Mets could get this Scherzer thing done. I don't want to get my hopes up because we got let down with Bauer last year. It looked like the Mets were going to get him. Boob Nightingale said that the Mets had to deal with Trevor Bauer. Obviously, that did not happen. And I just see so many similarities between him and Scherzer. The fact that the Mets are offering a pretty similar contract to Scherzer to what they did to Bauer, and then Bauer ended up going to the Dodgers, you feel like the Mets' biggest threat right now is the Dodgers. The team that Max Scherzer was just on was really close to going to the World Series, gets hurt, and gave so much to the Dodgers. But I know that Steve Cohen really wants Max Scherzer, so let's see what Steve Cohen could do. I mean, the fact that he's already offered $40 million after signing Starling Marte, Canna, Escobar, and still being interested in Javi Baez, that's good and all, but I mean, we'll see if the Mets can actually pull this one off. Carlos Rondon is also out there for the Mets, but we have not seen anything with him or really any other teams linked to him, so he could be a guy that is waiting till, way after. It looks like the Mets truly are trying to get everything done before this deadline, and I can't blame them because who knows what's going to happen. We don't know what the new CBA is going to look like, what's going to be a next luxury tax. We don't even know when the Mets can actually try to sign somebody again. How much time will they have after this lockout between the period of signing players till the season's about to start? I mean, we don't know how long this could take. After seeing how long it took in the COVID season between these guys to come to an agreement, this lockout could be a while. So free agency is going to get really crazy in these next couple of days. I think we're going to see a lot of deals crammed in. So that should make for multiple videos between now and that deadline. So until those next videos, be safe, be smart, be healthy. Let's go Mets. Go crazy, Steve Cohen. Do whatever it takes to get Max Scherzer, please.